Chapter 3:17. In the territory of the ancient tree, the Emperor of the Gods was also present, with a somber face. The ancient tree asked the Emperor of the Gods if it was okay to let those two go. Of course, they were talking about Sigma and N. According to what Sigma had said earlier, they were going to fight the Crocodile Emperor without asking for the Emperor of the Gods' permission, but clearly, the Emperor and the ancient tree knew about it. It was just that he felt it was unnecessary to stop them, because these two, one was the god of destruction, and the other was the god of creation. No creature could be their opponent. However, there was still one thing that made the Emperor frown in anger. It was their hard-to-break habit of enjoying toying with their opponents. On this side, the battle of the Crocodile Emperor, Sigma and N, had begun. The Crocodile Emperor's body slam kicked up dust. Meanwhile, in the slave city, fires started everywhere. Numerous loud noises showed that the attack by the monsters that Sigma brought had begun. The scientists there were in a rush. They wanted to activate this black hole gate immediately. But the setup time required a whole month. Even if they hurried, they couldn't do anything, and the whole team of scientists had reached a dead end. The local people had found this research center. They gathered in front of the facility, becoming increasingly numerous. The scientists inside understood. They were afraid of the people of Dom, knowing that when they came, they would kill everyone, so they only had one way left, to find the nearest human facility and hide. This dire situation made the scientists feel sympathy, and they decided to try their best to complete the process within 5 hours. Suddenly, a gigantic white owl unexpectedly landed on the wall. They hadn't heard the sound of its wings until it landed on the wall. This masterful predator let out a terrifying hoot, signaling the start of a large-scale attack by Sigma's monsters. The people began to run wildly, their screams echoing throughout the whole area. This battle also included giant beasts and demons. The winged monsters would be the vanguard of the attack, while the large ones would destroy the structures in the back. Their objectives had been given clearly by Sigma: kill all living beings in sight. The more they kill, the better. While the people of this city were too weak to withstand even one of their blows. Dom's monsters had also blocked all the exits from the city. They were determined to turn the city into a meat grinder. This scene terrified the scientists. An old man shouted, "Quickly, protect the teleportation machine!" Immediately, Guardian robots were deployed. They used 2 large-caliber anti-aircraft guns as their main weapon. Firing bullets as big as thumbs, this barrage of human firepower rained down on the enemies from above. The massive explosions shook the entire area, and could be heard from tens of kilometers away. Sigma turned to listen for a moment, guessing that the monster legions had begun to act. Then he coldly declared that the fate of this land and its lord was over. This was also the moment that his game began. The condition for his world creation game was that everything had to turn to nothingness. And this large crocodile before him was the most unnecessary creature, needing to be eliminated first. After several consecutive blows, the crocodile could still stand proudly, and from the start, the crocodile hadn't revealed any of its skills. Sigma understood that the one before him was no ordinary creature, but he still asked with a sardonic question whether he was just a long-living crocodile, or if the crocodile was actually a powerful one. Don't ask the Emperor such a question, that was an insult, of course. The crocodile declared that the reason he didn't easily collapse was because he was strong, and one more thing. That this battle isn't over yet. After speaking, streaks of lightning appeared in the air in front of Sigma. He was still calmly watching what the Crocodile Emperor was about to do. While in the city, humans had started their resistance. Anti-aircraft guns were deployed on roofs and high points and had begun to fire fiercely. Many people asked whether the monsters who were hit by the bullets were in pain. I have to remind that they not only felt pain, but could die on the spot, because human bullets, just like their technology, had progressed to AoE's 5th civilization. All bullets had been infused with spirit energy, but those monsters that had evolved too much would have superior physical resistance, making the damage from the bullets be less effective, while these monsters were probably only from the transcendent first order to second order. Every minute that passed that a scientist asked for was more precious than life itself, so he was trying to use his time as best as he could. However, that hunting owl was clearly not simple. Not only was it the first monster to arrive, It was also the monster targeting the group of scientists. This clever monster immediately opened its mouth, wanting to eliminate the one leading the team. But the damn owl, too focused on completing the KPI, didn't notice a dark punch coming, a punch that directly knocked its face to the side. It was one of the elite monkeys in the remaining Misty Mountain monkey army. This monkey clan was almost extinct. Those individuals that had remained were strong and precious individuals. The scientist was saved by the skin of his teeth, and could only open his mouth and stand there frozen. But please, could you please go back to work? On the other side, the people were continuing to race with death. The huge monsters knocked down buildings on both sides of the road as they chased, and continued to try to catch them. Luckily, the elven race had a lithe body and skillful movements, so it was also quite difficult for the monsters to eat the people here. Suddenly, from the city wall, a long tongue appeared, and shot straight at a group of monsters, and tightly wrapped around the neck of the monster chasing the people, causing it to lose its balance and fall to the ground. This invisible lizard monster was the one who had struck unexpectedly. Indeed, it was suitable to be an assassin. And then it made its tongue as hard as steel, lifting its prey tens of meters into the air, before slamming them hard against the ground, making the ground shatter. The red demon leader didn't understand, because he could hear strange footsteps behind him. Suddenly, purple-skinned dinosaurs rushed in from behind, roaring angrily and attacking the red demons. The remaining monkey warriors of Misty Mountain were also ready. Clearly, this city wasn't an empty shell. The red demon leader was suddenly surrounded. Even those from his side seemed to be targeting him now, right? That was why the Crocodile Emperor said that the battle wasn't over yet. "We are very strong!" From the city, they could also hear the wind coming from the battle of the leaders. The Crocodile Emperor released his spirit energy, declaring that he did not grow up with battles where he bullied the weak. Realistically, during his journey back to Misty Mountain, he had to fight against people stronger than himself. So this time, the Crocodile Emperor had always been mentally prepared, and now the time had come. At the same time, Sigma and N felt a violent aura appear. In that moment, the Crocodile Emperor transformed into a magma dragon. His whole body was emitting a splendid orange aura. The temperature around his body rose by hundreds of degrees. N was startled. The one before him had instantly reached 5th order. Like the white monkey earlier, damn it, he really wanted to know what this technique was. In this world, a transcendent 5th order could be revered as a god, so this magma dragon could also be considered a god. Immediately the magma dragon gathered spirit energy in his mouth, creating a mutated beast bullet filled with burning magma. In the past, to control this power, the magma dragon had taken a lot of time, because it was too strong, too destructive, and finally he had succeeded in using it skillfully. This time, he was testing it on those who called themselves 5th order gods. This shot warped space, even dark matter was burned. The shockwaves created a powerful storm. For the first time, Sigma had to wrap both of them in a protective barrier, and began to praise the magma dragon's fighting form. It was too strong. Even the arm he was using to create the barrier was cut by the streaks of chaotic spirit energy, which pierced through the barrier and grazed his hand. The Crocodile Emperor stood still and observed, with a low growl. His behavior from the beginning until now was more like a true emperor, not rushing, but resolute when he made a move. The fighting form of the Crocodile Emperor made Sigma make the following decision: he might lose if he didn't do anything. Therefore, he would activate his third fighting form. A column of light shot up into the sky. Sigma's spirit energy burst out too strongly. He was transforming. End of chapter 317.